You already know that working smarter beats working harder. So, why did I spend 15 hours this past Saturday working instead of spending time with my family? I hit that diminishing returns point that I always talk about, but I ignored it. And guess what? The last 10 hours of work, I had to redo them on Monday and have more to do today. And the worst part, I didn't realize I was making the mistake until it was too late. I've coached people on this exact problem. I even wrote a book about working smarter. Yet here I was falling into the same old trap, thinking that if I just push through, I'd make real progress. It'll be worth it to put in the effort right now. Things are flowing. I'll pay for it later, but it's going to be worth it. But by the time midnight rolled around, I wasn't thinking clearly. I was exhausted, frustrated, forcing my way forward instead of stepping back to see the bigger picture. And that's where the real kicker comes in. If I had walked away earlier, if I'd given my brain a break, I probably would have spotted the design flaw in my app way sooner. Instead, I kept pushing through and I wasted time and I had to redo it all anyway. So, does that sound familiar? See, entrepreneurs, freelancers, business owners, we're wired this way. We get into this mindset that if we're not grinding every second, then we're falling behind. That if we don't put in more hours, we won't get results. But here's what I realized running a business, it's a lot like getting in shape. Now, I know it sounds weird at first, but stick with me. You see, getting in shape is actually easier than running a business. This is the first point here. Most entrepreneurs think that building a successful business is like getting in shape, that both require discipline, effort, and long term commitment. And that is true. But here's the thing getting in shape is actually easier. And understanding why it's easier will actually help you run your business smarter instead of burning yourself out. You see, first, fitness has clear rules while business doesn't. If you want to get in shape, the formula is pretty simple. You need to eat fewer calories than you burn. You need to move your body regularly. You need to get enough sleep. And you need to stay consistent. There's really no mystery to it. Sure, people they debate all kinds of different diets and workouts, but at the end of the day, the fundamentals don't change. If you want to lose weight, you eat less calories. You want to gain weight, you eat more calories. But business is a completely different story. One week, this marketing strategy works great, and the next, it's outdated. And algorithms change, and competition it shifts, and industries actually evolve. AI comes out. There's no simple formula for guaranteed success. And that's why so many business owners get trapped in overworking. They think that if I just put in more effort, things will click. But unlike fitness, business isn't just about effort, it's about making the right moves at the right time. And if you're exhausted, overwhelmed, or running on fumes, well, you're making worse decisions, not better ones. Next, fitness progress is visible while business progress is unpredictable. And that's why fitness is easier. You can actually measure the progress in a real way. You step on a scale and the number goes down if you're trying to lose weight. You lift weights and the number goes up. You can track your workouts, your endurance improves. And even if you had a bad day, maybe you eat too much or you skip a workout, well, you can look back and see that overall, you're still moving in the right direction. While with business, it's not so obvious in the short term. I mean, you can work crazy hard for months and see very little results. No new clients, no revenue growth, no engagement. But then suddenly something clicks and progress explodes overnight. And this can mess with your head because you don't always know if what you're doing is actually working. And when you don't see progress, the natural instinct is to push harder, is to work longer hours, is to hustle even more. But remember me on Saturday, more work did not equal better results. It just meant more exhaustion and more wasted time. If I had treated my work like fitness, I would have stepped back and evaluated before pushing harder. Now, the last reason that I'll talk about why fitness is easier is you don't have to be perfect. I mean, think about it. If you eat one bad meal, Does it ruin your entire diet? Well, no. And if you miss one workout, do you instantly lose progress? No. But what do most people do? They beat themselves up. They feel guilty. Sometimes they even quit altogether because they think that they failed. And business works the exact same way. One bad launch doesn't mean that your business is failing. One slow month doesn't mean that you should quit. One mistake, like working over 15 hours on a Saturday, doesn't mean that you're bad at what you do. But in both business and in fitness, you have to zoom out and look at the big picture. Are you mostly eating well? Then you're making progress. Are you mostly making smart business decisions? Then you're on the right track. Success in both areas is not about grinding harder. It's about sticking with it long enough to see results. Now, here's the key takeaway. If fitness is simpler than business, and we know consistency leads to results, then wouldn't it make sense to start building that consistency in an area where you can actually see the progress? By getting in shape, you train your mind to trust the process. You learn that small daily actions leads to big results over time. It helps you realize that all work works. And once you internalize that lesson, it becomes way easier to apply that same mindset to your business. So if you ever feel stuck in your business, overwhelmed by the unpredictability of it all, and you're just tempted to push harder, well, ask yourself, have I been treating my energy like a resource? Or have I been running myself into the ground? Have I been expecting overnight results? Or am I actually committed to long term growth? Am I taking care of my body and my mind? Or am I just grinding endlessly, hoping for a breakthrough? Because the truth is that success does not come from working yourself into the ground. It comes from working smarter, staying consistent, and knowing when to rest and recover. You see, this leads us to the next big reason why fitness makes you a better entrepreneur. It actually rewires your brain to think clearer, to make better decisions, and to avoid burnout before it happens. Now, not only is getting in shape great practice for running a business, fitness also improves mental clarity and decision making. We just talked about how fitness is easier than running a business. It has clear rules, measurable progress, and it actually rewards consistency over perfection. But there's another major reason why fitness is a game changer for entrepreneurs. It actually makes you smarter. I'm not just talking about feeling more energetic or looking better. I mean, fitness literally rewires your brain to help you make better decisions, to solve problems faster, and to avoid burnout before it even starts. When you're running a business, your ability to make smart decisions is really everything. First, exercise reduces stress and it improves focus. One of the biggest reasons entrepreneurs struggle is because we're constantly making high pressure decisions. Do I invest in this new tool or should I not? Should I take on this client or let it pass? Is this marketing strategy actually working or am I just wasting my time and my money here? And here's the problem. When you're stressed out, your brain literally cannot think clearly. From my understanding, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that's responsible for critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making, it actually shuts down when you're overwhelmed. And so instead, your brain goes into this fight or flight or freeze mode. And that means that you're reacting emotionally instead of logically. And that's why on Saturday in the evening, my brain wasn't working. I was staring at my screen, trying to brute force the problem that I could have solved in just minutes if I'd actually given myself a break and stepped away. And it takes us right back to fitness because studies show that exercise physically changes your brain by reducing cortisol, and that's the stress hormone, and increases dopamine and serotonin, the feel good chemicals. And it also boosts blood flow to the brain, and that improves focus and creativity. When you build fitness into your routine, You're not just getting stronger, you're literally training your brain to handle stress better and to think more clearly. Now, better sleep equals better problem solving and creativity. Now, most of us entrepreneurs are pretty terrible at getting enough sleep. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night. It's basically code for I'm hustling harder than everyone else. But here's the truth: sleep deprived you is the dumbest version of you. Studies show that lack of sleep kills creativity, it destroys problem solving skills, and it makes you more likely to second guess yourself. And the crazy part, exercise is actually one of the best ways to improve sleep quality. And when you work out regularly, your body will fall asleep faster. It spends more time in deep sleep where memory and learning happen. And it allows you to wake up feeling more refreshed. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that when you start prioritizing fitness, you're not just getting healthier, you're unlocking a version of yourself that can think more clearly, work more efficiently, and actually make smart business decisions. Third, discipline in fitness actually carries over to business. Now, something I realized is that discipline is a muscle. And here's what I mean: most people think that motivation is what keeps people consistent. That successful people are just more motivated than everyone else. But that's not true. The real secret, they train their discipline like a muscle. And fitness is actually one of the best ways to do this. So, think about it like this: when you commit to a workout routine, you don't feel like exercising, but you do it anyway. You don't see results immediately, but you keep showing up. And you actually learn that small daily actions lead to huge long term results. And once you internalize that lesson in fitness, it naturally spills over into your business. You don't feel like sending that email or making that sales call, but you do it anyway. You don't see results from your marketing right away, but you stick with it. You don't really feel motivated today, but you rely on discipline and not emotions. And here's the thing: when you train this muscle in fitness, it makes discipline in business way easier. You start approaching your work the same way that you approach training. You focus on the process, not just the outcome. You trust that consistency will actually pay off, and you don't burn yourself out trying to do everything at one time. That's why some of the most successful entrepreneurs are actually obsessed with fitness. Something that I noticed about the people that I admire is that most of them were in shape. And I always told myself I'd get in shape after my business was where I wanted it to be. But I realized just by observing others that actually being in shape gives you an advantage in business. Now, if you ever find yourself overwhelmed, stressed out, or stuck in a business rut, ask yourself, am I giving my brain the best possible conditions to think clearly? Am I running on stress and caffeine? Or am I prioritizing real energy? Am I relying on motivation? Or am I actually building real discipline? Because the truth is, when you take care of your body, your brain rewards you with better ideas, faster problem solving, and sharper decision making. And that's exactly why fitness isn't just about looking good or even being healthy. It's about making sure that your business is functioning at its absolute best. But there's another piece to this puzzle, and it's the part that most entrepreneurs struggle with the most. Because just like in fitness, if you don't know when to stop, you actually end up doing more harm than good. Not only does fitness improve mental clarity and decision making in your business and life, but fitness also teaches resilience and recovery. And these are key business skills. So far, I've talked about how fitness is easier than business and how it actually rewires your brain to think clearer, make better decisions. But this last crucial reason why fitness makes you better an entrepreneur is it teaches you resilience. You see, success, whether it's in business or fitness, isn't about never failing, but it's about recovering and how to recover when you do. And that's where most business owners mess up. They think that more effort is always the answer, more hours, more grinding, more hustle. But just like in fitness, more is not always better. So let's break this down. First, setbacks are not failures, they're just part of the process. If you're on a diet, eating clean, feeling good, and then one day you cave and you eat a triple cheeseburger, fries, and you top it off with some ice cream, well, what do most people do? Well, they say, well, I already messed up. I might as well eat junk food for the rest of the day. Well, that day then turns into a week and then a month, and then suddenly they feel like they've just completely failed. But the reality is this: one bad meal does not ruin your progress. It's only a problem if you let it become a pattern. And it's the exact same in business. One bad decision doesn't mean your business is failing. One unproductive day doesn't mean that you've lost momentum. And one wrong move doesn't mean that you're not cut out for this. Just like in fitness, setbacks in business are inevitable. You'll make mistakes, you'll lose clients, you'll have slow months. But what matters is how fast you get back on track. And when you build resilience through fitness, you stop seeing those setbacks as failure and start seeing them as just part of the journey. Now, second is rest is actually a part of growth. Rest is not a weakness. This is something that completely changed how I think about work. The idea that rest isn't the opposite of progress, it's actually a requirement for it. In fitness, we know this. If you lift weights every single day without resting, what happens? Well, your muscles don't actually grow, they break down. Okay? Well, muscles, they need recovery time to rebuild stronger. And if you don't give them that time, you actually get weaker, not stronger. Yet in business, we do the exact opposite. We work nonstop thinking that rest is for the weak. We pull all-nighters, sacrifice weekends, and grind ourselves into the ground thinking it's what we're supposed to do. And then what happens? Well, we have burnout, brain fog, bad decisions. And ironically, we get worse results. And that's exactly what happened to me on Saturday. I kept pushing, thinking I was being productive. But the work I did late at night was garbage. I had to redo it all on Monday anyway. And if I'd stepped away, let my brain reset, and given myself a break, I would have seen the problem sooner. Just like in fitness, overworking is counterproductive. Your best ideas don't come when you're forcing them. Your best ideas come when you're rested, clear-headed, and focused. Now, the next time you feel like you have to grind harder to get results, ask yourself this question: am I actually making progress, or am I just exhausting myself? Because if you want sustainable success, you have to treat rest and recovery as non-negotiable. Third, knowing when to stop keeps you from injuring yourself and experiencing burnout. But how do you know when to stop? Well, in fitness, one of the biggest mistakes beginners make is overtraining. They think more is always better, so they push themselves too hard, too fast. And what happens? Well, you have injuries, you have exhaustion, you have burnout. And ironically, this slows their progress down. Instead of building strength, they end up sidelined for weeks, unable to train at all. And business is the exact same way. If you never stop working, eventually something breaks. Could be your health, maybe it's your creativity, maybe it's your motivation. But if you push yourself past the point of exhaustion, you don't get more success. You actually get less. And this is why the most successful entrepreneurs are masters of knowing when to stop. They don't wait until they're completely drained to take a break. They actually schedule recovery time the same way they schedule work time. They understand that doing less, but doing better, is always more effective than doing more in a scattered, exhausted state. And think about it like this: you're on a diet, eating clean, working out, feeling great. But then one day you eat way too much, or you skip a workout, or you just don't feel like pushing yourself. Well, what happens? Most people freak out. They feel like they've ruined all their progress. They say, well, I already messed up, so what's the point? And before they know it, they're back to square one. But here's the thing: that one mistake does not erase all the progress that you made. I know this firsthand. Last year, I was 226 pounds, and that was my breaking point. Is the moment where I actually knew something had to change. So I restricted my calories, and not by cutting out specific foods, but by eating less overall. And I committed to exercising 3 times a week. And in just about 4 months, I dropped nearly 50 pounds. But here's the thing: I wasn't perfect. Some days I ate more than I should have. Some days I didn't exercise as hard as I could have. But none of those small missteps erased the progress that I made, because over time I was actually moving in the right direction. And now, well, I've kept that weight off for 8 months so far and fluctuating between 175 and 180. And I don't stress about the occasional slip up because I know that consistency beats perfection. And that's exactly what happened this past Saturday. I worked 5 hours, had lunch, and then another 10 hours straight, falling back into my old habits. But instead of beating myself up over it, I realized that it's just a lapse in judgment. It didn't erase all the smart decisions that I made over the past year. Just like one bad meal didn't erase my weight loss, one bad work day doesn't erase all the wasteful pounds of business that I've dropped by working smarter. And that's why fitness is such a powerful teacher. It conditions your mind to understand that setbacks are normal, but they don't define you. Because the real danger is not the one bad day in itself, it's letting that one bad day turn into a bad week or a bad month. And that's what separates successful entrepreneurs from burnout ones. This is why fitness is so powerful. It forces you to listen to your body, understand your limits, and stop before you break. And when you develop that skill in fitness, you naturally bring it into your business as well. So stop feeling guilty for resting. Stop thinking more hours equals more results. Start working smarter, not harder. Because at the end of the day, your business only works if you do. Now, if you're running on fumes, grinding endlessly and feeling stuck, ask yourself, am I treating setbacks like failures or part of the process? Am I giving myself time to recover, or am I pushing myself to exhaustion? Am I stopping before I break, or am I running myself into the ground? Because just like in fitness, success in business isn't about working yourself to death. It's about knowing when to push, when to rest, when to step back, and when to come back stronger. And this brings us to the final takeaway: how all this ties together and what you can start doing today to work smarter, get healthier, and run your business better. On Saturday, I made the mistake of working like a madman for way too many hours straight. I ignored everything I know about diminishing returns, thinking that more effort would lead to better results. Instead, I burned myself out. I wasted 10 hours on work I had to redo on Monday, and I lost valuable time with my family. And that's when it hit me. I fell right back into the same trap that I warned others about. But here's what I realized: fitness not only teaches the exact mindset that prevents this from happening, it also shows that while you may fail, it doesn't mean that you're a failure and all your progress isn't erased because of a single bad day. So to recap, first, getting in shape is actually easier than running a business. It has clear rules, measurable progress, and it rewards consistency, things that businesses often lack. And when you build consistency in fitness, you train your mind to trust the process, which makes running your business smarter, not harder. Second, fitness improves mental clarity and decision making. Exercise literally rewires your brain to handle stress better, think faster, and stop working past the point of diminishing returns. You sleep better, you have more energy, and you develop real discipline. It's easier to avoid burnout before it even happens. And third, fitness teaches resilience and recovery. You don't get stronger by lifting weights nonstop. You get stronger by training hard and then recovering. And business works the same way. More is not always better. Knowing when to stop, when to adjust, and how to recover after setbacks is what actually makes long term success possible. By Monday, I realized something brutal. Those blurry, exhausted hours, they were wasted. I had to redo everything. And the worst part is I knew better. I mean, I wrote the book on this. Now, I know this isn't just my problem. Every entrepreneur, freelancer, service based business owner falls into the same trap sometimes. I mean, it's why I make these videos. If you've ever found yourself working way too hard for way too little reward, spending 12, 15, even 18-hour days grinding away, only to feel stuck and exhausted, well, you need a better strategy. And that's exactly why I wrote my book, Work Smarter, Think Harder: The Entrepreneur's Guide to Doubling Your Revenue, Working Half the Time. Now, this is not another hustle harder book. It's about leveraging your time, energy, and mental clarity so that you can grow your business without burning out. And so, if you've ever wondered, how do I scale my business without working 24/7? Or how do I stay productive without feeling exhausted? Or how do I stop making the same mistakes that cost me time and money? Then this book's for you. So go ahead, you can order a copy today. The link's in the description, or you can go to www.worksmarterbook.com. Now, here's the last thing I'll leave you with. Your business should not feel like a never ending marathon. Instead, think of it like a series of sprints, bursts of hard thinking, then intentional work, followed by real rest and real recovery. Because when you sprint and recover, you stay sharp. You produce your best work, you avoid burnout, and over time, you build something sustainable and powerful. So, if you've been stuck in an endless grind, it's time to change the approach. Sprint when it matters, recover fully, and when you're ready, go all in again. Thanks for watching. Now you can go take some action. And when you're ready, I'll see you in the next video.